Hello again. Hope you are all doing well. I wanted to make this video just to kind of explain that assignment that I posted for you, the logic questions assignment. I just wanted to explain what was going on with that, what I'm looking for you to do, and why I'm having you do that. Um, I do plan on making probably one more video for you this week, but I'm going to go ahead and wait until after Wednesday when your rough drafts are due, of course, and also I asked for questions about the essay. So I'm going to try to post one more video responding to your questions and maybe giving some feedback based on what I generally see in your rough drafts. So maybe I'll send that on email just to let everybody know that I'm posting another video later in the week. But yeah, since I didn't ask you for the questions until Wednesday, I didn't think it would make sense to do it, before then. Okay, so these questions. So I called it like logic, right? And if you look on that sheet where it gives you some definitions, it of course tells you that logic is kind of the science of arguing. So obviously, when we're writing argumentative essays, we want to be, understand logic, and we want to be good at it. Of course, there's entire courses on logic, like it falls under philosophy. So yeah, you could take that in the future to help you get better with this. But I just wanted to give us a quick introduction to kind of some of like the basic terms and like basic stuff about logic and how it works. So the specific thing that we're looking at is premises and conclusions. This is very important because basically what logic helps us do is yeah, it's interested in like pathos, ethos, and logos and arguing strategies, those things I talked about in a previous video. But it's also interested in like breaking down arguments and like understanding them better, because understanding an argument is going to be the best way to argue against it. Or if you're trying to make an argument, you want to be able to understand like the component parts. So I think premise and conclusion are a good place to start for this, because they are the most fundamental pieces of an argument. What an argument is. So basically, like it says there, the premise is like the reason or the evidence, right? And the conclusion is like the thing that you believe because of that, right? Obviously, I think this makes more sense with the example. So I'm just using the example that is posted with the questions there. The example they gave you, it's cats with long hair shed all over the house, so you should not get a long-haired cat. I have heard that they also have lots of fleas. So in like a logical way of thinking about this is an argument, right? And I was trying to get at this in previous videos where I was saying how we argue more than we think, and that it doesn't have to be like yelling and screaming. So this is more of like a philosophical definition of an argument. It's having a premise that leads you to a conclusion. So even these two sentences here about cats and the long hair, should you get one, this is an argument in that kind of philosophical sense. So again, it's cats with long hair shed all over the house, so you should not get a long-haired cat. I've heard that they also have lots of fleas. So what you're supposed to do for this assignment is break this down into premise and conclusion. So they show you what that looks like, right? You put like a little P, and then you put the premise, and then if there could be a second premise, then you put a P and the other one, and then you put a C for the conclusion. So that's how you can like submit your answers. So if we had to break this one down, cats with long hair shed all over the house, so you should not get a long cat. So what's the conclusion here? The conclusion is like the thing that we believe, right? So in this case, it would be you should not get a long cat. That's our conclusion. What's the premise to get there? Well, they have long hair that sheds all over the house. And then they also tell us they have a lot of fleas. So that would be another premise. So it would be premise 1, cats have long hair and shed all over the house. Premise 2, long-haired cats have a lot of fleas. Conclusion, don't get a long-haired cat. Right? So do you see how that works? Where the premise is like the evidence or like the fact or whatever, and the conclusion is like the thing that you believe because of that. So this seems simple, right? But you'll see with the other sentences that they have for you that it gets more complicated when we're actually like reading a paragraph or something, and we have to figure out, okay, what's the argument being made? What are the premises? What are the conclusions? And if you want to get good at arguing, if you want to get good at writing argument essays, you have to get good at this stuff. You have to be able to recognize what the premise of an argument is, like what are the reasons that someone believes the thing that they do, right? And then, because usually where we find bad arguments, not in a sense that they're hurtful or mean or whatever, but in a sense that they're philosophically not valid, is when you get like a false premise, right? Um, because if one of your premises is wrong, then your conclusion could easily be wrong, right? So like some other like common things that examples of this is of like premise and conclusion is they'll be like premise all humans die, premise John is a human, conclusion John will die, right? But if one of your premises was off, if it was premise all humans die, premise John is not a human, conclusion John won't die. So like you get the wrong conclusion because you have a bad premise, right? So it's important that like the you can see the link between premises and conclusions, and you understand like how people are making their arguments, why they're making their arguments. I was trying to talk about this in the video about student loans, right? Where basically when I was talking about the difference between people who think that you should get rid of all the tuition, get rid of all the debt, and people who think we should only do for people making under a certain amount of money, is that they're operating from a different premise at the bottom of it, right? Or like when I was talking about the stupid debate about like is a hot dog a sandwich? Is a taco a sandwich? All these kinds of things. And like the reason that people can talk past each other with this stuff is because we're not addressing the fundamental premise. The premise is a hot dog, or sorry, a sandwich has to have two pieces of bread, right? That would be a premise. And then from that, you get your conclusion. So if we can't identify what premises are, we really can't have arguments back and forth. And it's also a good way to like check the logic of your own argument to see if like the things that you believe make sense. Or obviously if you're arguing against someone else, or if you're writing an essay, whatever it is. So I hope you could see like why I think this is important for the kind of essays that we have to write. So yeah, I'm hoping that by doing a little assignment like this, obviously I wish we had more time, I wish we could do more, but by doing a little assignment list like this, maybe I can try to get you guys to start thinking in that kind of logical, philosophical sort of way. And I think ultimately this makes us better at arguing. So for the questions that they have there, just like I was saying with the one about cats, you read the sentences that they have, and then you should break it down into premises and conclusions. Or conclusion, one conclusion. There could be multiple premises though. You could have any number of premises. It could be 1, 2, 3. These aren't that long, so there's probably not that many. But yeah, so you'll just put like P for premise and then C for the conclusion, and you can submit it that way. All right, so one more video coming for you later in the week. That's it for now.